Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. I am the Twisted Jedi, and in today's video we are going to have a complete hero guide for Emperor Palpatine. That's right, the Senate is back, and I am going to be giving you the best star cards as well as some tips and tricks to dominating the game with Papa Palps every single round. Now, with Palpatine being out of the game for a while, there have been a few newer players who probably haven't had the chance to use him yet or get enough practice with him, and as you guys are figuring out how to be effective with him, hopefully these tips will help. So what I'm going to do is I'll start off with the star cards for Galactic Assault, then the star cards that I use for heroes vs villains, and then to finish off I'll give you guys a few extra tips to dominating with the Senate. Hopefully some of these tips help you experienced players too, as I know we're all a little bit out of practice with Palpatine, so let me know down in the comments if they do help. So guys, let's start off with Palpatine's best star cards for Galactic Assault. The first card you will want to equip is the Lightning Reach star card. This allows his lightning to reach up to 30% further when attacking. This helps immensely when you're on maps with large open areas when you need to close the gap between you and an enemy. You definitely want this card on at all times, as recently they have nerfed the angle on which Palpatine's lightning actually hits, so having an extra bit of range on it will definitely help. Moving on to the second card you want to use for Palpatine, and it is the Lightning Absorption star card. Lightning Absorption is key to surviving and having long kill streaks with Palps in GA. For every enemy you hit with the Chain Lightning ability, Palpatine will receive 25 health back on recharge, so if you hit multiple enemies with his Chain Lightning, then times how many enemies you hit by 25, and that's the amount of health regen you can have. If you want to go on a crazy kill streak with Palpatine, then this is the way to do it. This card will definitely help you stay alive, and even if your health gets extremely low at some point, you're one Chain Lightning away from getting a decent chunk of health back. Now, the final card you want to use when playing Galactic Assault is the Surge of Lightning star card. This card allows Chain Lightning to bounce to up to 4 more targets when at the epic level. Now, if you remember the last star card that I just mentioned, we had it equipped. It heals 25 health per enemy hit with the Chain Lightning. So with this card adding 4 extra enemies being able to hit, that's an extra 100 health regen over his regular Chain Lightning. This card stacks perfectly with the Lightning Absorption star card and can really help to save you if you're running low on health. Getting into the cards for heroes vs villains, you are going to have to switch up your playstyle a little bit. Taking on heroes like Chewie or Rey head on is only going to end one way, and that's in you getting killed. Instead, you need to utilize all 3 of Palpatine's abilities if you want to dominate in HVV. The first card I use is again the Lightning Reach. Heroes tend to run away when they're the target, so it's really frustrating. It only makes sense to have this card equipped when they're running away, or even just so you can zap enemies while at a safe distance and keeping out of harm's way. This is great for GA as well as heroes vs villains, so if you haven't got this card equipped already, I definitely recommend it. The second card I use with Palpatine in heroes vs villains is the In Full Control star card. What this does is when it's equipped, it will drain up to 16% less stamina when Palpatine uses his lightning. With the stamina system now seemingly fixed after the last patch, the last thing you want to do is run out of stamina just before you kill someone and have them kill you while you're waiting for it to recharge. 16% may not seem like much, but you really feel the difference between having the card on and not, so there is a noticeable difference in how quickly it drains. I like this card because you can really melt heroes with it. Even someone with as much health as Chewie can fall victim to Palp's lightning with this card attached, so I definitely recommend this one for card number 2. Finally, the last card I use for Palpatine in heroes vs villains is probably one you might not think of. I know a lot of people like to triple stack the lightning abilities, but for this slot I tend to use the Growing Darkness star card. This allows Palpatine's dark aura to grow larger and larger as long as it's effective. This can really help as it damages and slows the movement speeds of enemies caught within its radius, and with it getting larger and larger every time, enemies are just going to be trapped for longer periods of time, so it can definitely help. Try using this ability and using his lightning as well to take down enemies even faster than before. If you guys stack these 3 cards together for Palpatine in heroes vs villains, I guarantee you will see some rapid improvement. Now, star cards are key, but they aren't everything. You need to know how to play Palpatine to his strengths as well, so let's get into a few tips. Most of these will apply to both Galactic Assault and heroes vs villains, so make sure you utilize them in both. The first tip I want to give, as always, is to make sure you're using him on maps where he will be most effective. I've found that in Galactic Assault, Naboo is probably the best map to use him on, as once you're inside the palace or sort of moving into the palace, there tends to be large groups of enemies bunched up into a tight space. Palpatine's Chain Lightning should easily clear rooms and dominate on the correct maps when being used effectively. Tip number 2 is key to staying alive, and that's making sure you use his side to side lunge and his forwards and backwards spin when necessary. Sometimes you'll have an enemy hero hit you in the back, and once that saber lock hits, it can definitely be a quick death for most. Use the spin to create some distance between you and your opponent before turning around to counterattack. Tip number 3, and as similar as it is to tip number 2, you need to make sure you're taking advantage of Palpatine's jump height. For those of you that have played against a good Palpatine player before, you'll know that they tend to get the nickname Bouncy Palps, or at least something similar to that, because that's what my squad calls it. Using the full height of Palpatine's jump not only helps to create a good angle to shoot his lightning down, but it also keeps you off the ground and out of danger, making you really hard to hit. In saying this, when going head to head with blaster heroes, you want to try and jump medium height, but go side to side as well. You will see me doing this throughout the gameplay, and it makes you really hard to hit, as your opponent will struggle to aim at you going side to side. Meanwhile, your lightning should be melting them. Again, tip number 4 is to make sure you use all of his abilities. The Dark Aura is really effective with slowing and damaging heroes. A stun can help you or your team get a kill or get out of trouble, and the chain lightning, well, I think we all know how deadly that can be against infantry. So again, make sure you use all of his abilities. Now, tip number 5 is that a lot of people rely solely on Palpatine's main lightning ability, and when in close quarters, sometimes it's quite hard to get his lightning to connect. What many people, and especially new players, don't realize is that Palpatine has a melee ability. It's a close range lunge with a dash of lightning that can be extremely effective when you are really close to other enemies. So if you run around a corner and there's an enemy right in front of you, try hitting R3 if you're on PS4, or whatever your respective melee button is on your platform. Knowing this might just save you in an up close battle and keep you alive for a little bit longer. Anyways guys, this is going to do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this complete guide for Emperor Palpatine. If you did, then be sure to smack a thumbs up on the video and let me know in the comments down below which tip helped you the most. Also, if you have any further tips for players who might be reading the comment section, put that down below as well, and let me know which hero you want to see a guide for next, and I'll be sure to work on that for you. Lastly, if you're new to the channel and love all things Star Wars, then feel free to subscribe and become part of Team Twisted on our way to 5k subs. As always, thank you so much for watching. I am the Twisted Jedi, and may the Force be with you always.